After working 23 days straight to afford my stepson's surgery, I came home with a limp and a grocery bag of cheap cake and candles. My wife looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You think this makes up for 12 years of being nothing?" Then she called him into the room and said, "Tell your fake dad what you really think of it." The boy said, "Mom says you're just a wallet with legs." I just smiled. That was 2 months ago. Last night, she regretted everything she said. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Mods, delete if not allowed. But I got to get this off my chest. So being a stepdad to Dax for 12 years. 12 freaking years. Met Vanessa when the kid was just 5. Skinny little thing with a Pokemon backpack and trust issues. His bio dad ghosted before he could walk. I stepped up. Not because I had to, but because that's what a man does. That's what I do. And I ain't rich. Never claimed to be. Work at the factory on the edge of town. Making enough to keep us comfortable, but not fancy. We got the 3-bedroom in the okay part of town. Got the 10-year-old SUV that makes that weird noise when it rains. Got the life insurance and the dental plan, and all that grown-up crap nobody tells you about when you're young. 2 months back, Dax needed surgery on his knee, bad sports injury, torn something or other that the doc said needed fixing ASAP, or the kid might limp forever. Insurance covered some, but that deductible and out-of-pocket hit like a freight train. $28,000 might as well have been $1 million, but family is family, right? So, I picked up every overtime shift they'd give me. Worked 23 days straight, night shift, day shift, whatever they'd throw at me. My body screaming the whole time. My back felt like someone took a baseball bat to it. Developed this limp from standing on concrete for 16 hours a day. But I did it. Got the final check, paid the hospital, and on day 24, I dragged my sorry ass to the discount store. Bought a cheap chocolate cake with the last 20 in my wallet, some candles, and a card. Thought maybe we could celebrate Dax's surgery being covered, him getting better. Stupid, I know, but that's where my head was at. Came home limping, holding that sad little grocery bag. Vanessa was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Didn't even look up at first. When she finally did, her face, man, like I'd tracked dog crap through her clean house. She looks at the bag, looks at me, and says that thing I'll never forget. "You think this makes up for 12 years of being nothing?" I just stood there, bag in hand, leg throbbing, brain trying to process what just happened. Then she called into the other room. "Dax, come tell your fake dad what you really think of him." The kid walks in, 17 now, tall, on crutches from the surgery I just killed myself to pay for. And he looks at me with his mom's exact same expression and says, "Mom says you're just a wallet with legs." Ain't that something? 12 years, thousands of baseball games, homework help, picking him up when he puked at sleepovers, teaching him to drive in the empty parking lot. All of it reduced to a wallet with legs. I just smiled, didn't say a word, put the cake down on the coffee table, and walked to our bedroom, closed the door, sat on the edge of the bed for a long time. See, I'm not a yeller. Never have been. My old man screamed enough for 3 lifetimes. I swore I'd never be that guy. But in that moment, I felt something break inside me. Not my heart, something else. Like the last chain keeping me tied to their fantasy version. Next morning, I called in sick for the first time in 5 years. Waited till they both left. Vanessa to her part-time job at the mall. Dax to his friend's house. Then I went to work, not at the factory. Different kind of work. First the bank, opened a new account they couldn't access. Called HR and had my direct deposit changed. Left enough in the joint account to cover 1 more month of bills. Not a penny more. Then a lawyer. Just a consultation. Laid it all out. He took notes, nodded a lot. Told me to document everything. Start keeping receipts. Record conversations if my state allowed it. It does. Take pictures of the house and everything in it. Back home, I started looking at things differently. The designer purses in Vanessa's closet. Dax's gaming setup that cost more than my first car. The credit card statements showing restaurant charges when I was working doubles. The whispered phone conversations that stopped when I entered rooms. But on the outside, I was the same old Stanley. Quiet, reliable, the wallet with legs. For 2 weeks, I smiled and nodded. Went to work, came home, watched as Vanessa spent like nothing had changed. Watched as Dax ignored me, perfectly happy to take my money for his physical therapy appointments. I started sleeping in the spare room. Told Vanessa my back was bothering me. Needed the firmer mattress. She didn't question it, probably relieved. Week 3, I opened an envelope from the mortgage company. They were threatening foreclosure. 3 months behind. I checked the joint account. Empty. The money I'd left for bills gone. On what? Who knows? But not on keeping a roof over our heads. That night, I paid the mortgage from my new account. Then I installed cameras in the common areas of the house. Nothing creepy, just security. Evidence gathering like the lawyer suggested. Week 4 is when Vanessa first noticed something was wrong. Her card got declined at the grocery store. She called me furious. I played dumb. Must be a bank error. Call them and check. She did. They told her there were no more automatic deposits coming in. That's when the texts started. The screaming when I got home. Where was my money going? How dare I? What kind of man was I? I just looked at her and said, thought I was nothing anyway. Just a wallet with legs. Wallets don't have ears, Vanessa. The look on her face like she'd seen a ghost, but not of someone dead. The ghost of the man she thought she'd killed long ago. The man with a spine. By week 6, things were tense. Vanessa trying to sweet talk me 1 minute, threatening me the next. Dax avoiding me completely. I kept going to work. Kept paying only what I needed to pay. Mortgage, utilities, groceries, no more free money. I found an old text thread on Dax's tablet he'd left logged in. Vanessa telling him to butter me up because they needed money for his school trip. Telling him I was an ATM with legs. Just be nice and I'd spit out cash. 8 weeks in, that was yesterday. Vanessa tried getting into my email. Got notified of a password reset attempt. Same day, found her going through my dresser drawers looking for God knows what. Last night, she came into the spare room where I was reading, sat on the edge of the bed, started crying about how she didn't know how we'd gotten here, how much she appreciated everything I did, how Dax was just repeating something stupid she'd said in anger years ago. I just handed her my phone, showed her the videos, the texts, the bank statements, the consultation paperwork from the divorce attorney. She went white, then red, then started screaming loud enough to bring Dax running. That's when everything changed. But that's a story for tomorrow. My break's over and I got to get back to work. The wallet with legs never rests, right? Update. It's been 2 weeks since my last post. First, thank you all for the support. Didn't expect 20,000 upvotes and my inbox to explode like that. Second, Vanessa's face when the bank declined her card at the salon was just the beginning. Where was I? Right, last night when everything changed. So, there's Vanessa standing in the doorway of the spare room, face going from ghost white to fire engine red as she's looking at the evidence on my phone. Dax comes running in because of the screaming, sees his mom losing it, sees me just sitting there calm as a cucumber. The kid looks between us, confused. What's happening? He asks. I turn my phone so he can see the text convo I found. The one where his mom calls me an ATM with legs. The ones where she's coaching him on how to get money out of me. The one where she laughs about how I'm working myself to death while she's planning a girls' trip to Cancun. Ain't that something? All those extra shifts for his surgery and she's planning beach time with the girls. Dax's face changes. First time I've seen that kid look ashamed in years. He starts backing away, but I ask him to stay. Tell him we need to talk as a family. For real, maybe for the first time. Vanessa's still screaming, but now it's damage control. She's saying I'm taking things out of context, that I'm trying to turn her son against her, that I've always been jealous of their bond. I just pull up the video from 3 nights ago. The one where she's on the phone with her sister talking about the divorce she's planning, about how she's going to take me for everything. How the courts always favor the mother. How Dax will say whatever she tells him to say. The kid looks like someone punched him in the gut. Mom is all he says. She tries to grab the phone. I move it away. Tell her to sit down or leave. Her choice. She sits. Smart move. I explain to Dax exactly what's been happening. The money situation. The behind my back stuff. The lies. I show him the mortgage statement showing we almost lost the house while his mom was buying $300 jeans. He looks at her waiting for her to deny it. She can't. I tell him I'm still paying for his physical therapy directly. Still covering his college fund that I moved to an account only he can access when he turns 18. Still making sure he has what he needs. Because despite what they both think, I'm not just a wallet. I'm the guy who chose to be his dad when his real one bailed. The room gets real quiet then. Like that moment in movies where the bomb timer stops at 1 second. Vanessa starts crying, but not the manipulative kind from before. The ugly, snotty, I got caught kind. And Dax, he just looks lost. 17 years old, but suddenly looking like that 5-year-old with the Pokemon backpack again. I tell them both I'm sleeping at my buddy Mike's place tonight. Need some space. And I walk out. Spent the night on Mike's couch playing video games like we're teenagers, not 40-someths with bad backs. It felt good. Next morning, I wake up to 67 text messages from Vanessa. Everything from I hate you to please come home to I'll change I promise. Classic manipulation cycle. I head home to shower and change before work. Find Dax sitting at the kitchen table picking at a bowl of cereal. No Vanessa in sight. He tells me she went to her sister's place. Then he asks if what I showed them was real. All of it. I sit down across from him. Tell him yes, all of it's real. But also tell him none of this is his fault. That adults make their own choices and his mom made hers. Then this kid, this almost grown man who's barely spoken 10 words to me in the last year, asks if I'm really leaving, if I'm done being his dad, too. Felt like someone reached into my chest and squeezed. I tell him I'm not done being his dad. That was never on the table, but things between me and his mom are broken beyond repair. He nods, says he gets it. Then he shows me his phone, screenshots he took of texts between his mom and her friends going back months, years even, all talking about me like I'm the help. The walking ATM, the sucker raising another man's kid. I ask why he's showing me this. He says, because I deserve to know the truth. That he's sorry for how he acted. That he believed his mom when she said I was just staying for the mortgage tax break or whatever. We actually talk for 2 hours. First real conversation we've had since he hit puberty. I'm not saying everything's fixed. The kid has been poisoned against me for years, but it's a start. That was 4 days ago. Since then, one Vanessa came back from her sister's place to find the locks changed. Legal in my state since my name's the only one on the deed. Left her stuff in garbage bags on the porch. She went ballistic, but neighbors got the whole thing on their doorbell cams so she couldn't make up stories. 2. Dax decided to stay with me. His choice. He's old enough that the courts would let him choose anyway. That knocked the wind out of Vanessa's sails real quick. 3. Her sister, who I always thought hated me, called to apologize, said Vanessa has been lying to the whole family for years, making up stories about me being controlling, abusive, all that garbage. Now they know the truth. 4. I officially filed for divorce yesterday. My lawyer says with the evidence I've got, she won't get much. The house is mine from before we met. My retirement is protected. Child support is a non-issue since Dax is staying with me and is almost 18 anyway. 5. Vanessa's car got repossessed this morning. Turns out she hadn't been making payments for 3 months, using the money for who knows what instead. She called screaming that I need to help her. I hung up. 6. Dax asked if I would still help with his college application. Said his mom always handled it, but now he doesn't trust her to do it right. We're sitting down this weekend to figure it out together. It hasn't all been smooth. Dax is still a teenager with all that attitude. We had a blow-up fight last night about his curfew, but at least now we're fighting about normal stuff, not this twisted money game his mom created. The weird part, I don't even feel good about any of this. Not really, just tired. Relieved, maybe. Like putting down a heavy backpack I didn't realize I was carrying. Vanessa showed up at my job yesterday, caused a scene in the parking lot, crying, begging me to talk to her. Said she'd go to therapy, said she'd change, said she never meant any of it. My buddies at work formed a wall between us so I could get to my car. Real ones, those guys. But here's where it gets interesting. This morning, I get a text from a number I don't recognize. It's Heidi, girl I knew in high school. We reconnected on Facebook a few years back just as friends. She heard what happened through mutual friends. Small town news travels. Asked if I wanted to grab coffee sometime just to talk. No pressure. I said yes. Vanessa must have seen the text preview on my watch while I was making dinner. She went nuclear. Started throwing things, screaming that I've been cheating all along, that she was right about me, that I'm abandoning her when she needs me most. Dax walked in on this tantrum. Saw his mom throwing a glass at my head. Missed thankfully. Saw me just standing there recording it all on my phone. The look on his face like his whole worldview was reshuffling in real time. He stepped between us, told his mom to leave, that she needed help, that this wasn't okay. She tried the tears again, tried to pull him into a hug. He stepped back, asked her why she was really upset, because she was hurt or because her meal ticket was walking. The shock on her face when those words came from him and not me. Priceless. She left. Been blowing up my phone since. Alternating between threats and love declarations. Classic narcissist playbook. Tomorrow I'm meeting with the lawyer again, showing him the new evidence. The restraining order paperwork is ready to go if needed. And yeah, I'm getting coffee with Heidi on Saturday. Not a date, just coffee. But it feels like I don't know, like maybe there's a life after being the wallet with legs. Dax asked if he could come with me to pick up my check tomorrow. Said he wants to see where I work. In 12 years, his never boarder asked that. Ain't that something? We'll update again after the lawyer meeting. This is far from over. Final update. Ain't life funny? 6 weeks ago, I was nothing. And now Vanessa's calling me crying from her sister's spare bedroom. Lot has happened since my last update. Some good, some messy, all of it real. First, thanks for all the DMs and comments. Never expected this story to blow up like it did. Y'all kept me sane through some dark nights. Special shout out to you, not your wallet, bro, who sent me that playlist of revenge songs that got me through a 12-hour shift last week. Where to start? The divorce is moving along. Not as fast as those TV shows where people sign papers and it's done in a week, but it's happening. My lawyer says we're looking at another 3 or 4 months, but Vanessa isn't fighting it anymore. Not since the judge saw those texts and videos. The house is weirdly quiet now. Just me and Dax. Had to learn to grocery shop for a teenager, which is basically like feeding a small army. Kid eats a box of cereal in 2 days flat. The dishwasher broke last week because of course it did. And we spent Sunday afternoon watching YouTube tutorials and fixing it ourselves. Saved $300 and only flooded the kitchen floor once. Progress. Vanessa's staying at her sister's place still. The rental market here is brutal and her credit score is in the toilet after all those missed payments. Plus, turns out she hasn't worked enough hours at that mall job to qualify for an apartment on her own. Reality hitting hard. She comes by once a week to see Dax. Those first few visits were tense. She'd try to get him alone, whisper stuff about me, ask if I was treating him right. The kid recorded it all on his phone and showed me after. Smart boy. After the third visit like that, I sat her down in the kitchen while Dax was at physical therapy. Told her if she wanted to keep seeing her son, the manipulation had to stop. Showed her what I know, what Dax knows, and what the court knows. Her face went through this whole journey. Anger, denial, bargaining, and finally this deflated acceptance. For maybe the first time in our relationship, I saw the real Vanessa, not the mask she wears for everyone else. She asked why I stayed for 12 years if I knew she was using me. Good question. Told her the truth, that I stayed for Dax, but also because I kept hoping she'd eventually see me. The real me, not just what I could provide. She cried then, not the manipulative tears I'd seen 1,000 times, something different. After that, the visits got better. She's still Vanessa. Still makes digs about the house being messy or asks for loans she'll definitely pay back, but the venomous stuff has mostly stopped. The coffee with Heidi turned into lunch, which turned into dinner the next week. We're taking it slow, real slow. She knows all my baggage. Saw it from the outside for years. When I picked her up for our second date, she handed me a gift bag. Inside was a leather wallet with legs drawn on it in permanent marker. We both laughed until we couldn't breathe. Woman's got a savage sense of humor. Dax noticed I was happier. Asked if Heidi was my girlfriend now. Told him it's complicated that adults move slow with this stuff. He rolled his eyes so hard I thought they might fall out of his head. Teenagers, man. Speaking of Dax, his physical therapy is going well. Knees almost back to normal. He made it through half a basketball game last week before needing a break. Doctor says by summer he'll be 100% if he sticks with the exercises. The college stuff is coming together, too. We toured 3 schools within driving distance. Found out he qualifies for some decent scholarships. His GPA isn't perfect, but turns out being on the basketball team and doing that volunteer thing at the animal shelter looks good on applications. Who knew? Weirdest part is how we're actually talking now. Like really talking. Found out he's interested in engineering. Never knew that. Vanessa always said he wanted to be a lawyer like her brother, but Dax says he only said that because she kept pushing it. Boy wants to build things, not argue about them. Can't say I blame him. He asked about his real dad last week out of nowhere while we were changing the oil in my car. Wanted to know if I knew anything about him. I told him what little I knew. Guy's name is Austin. Moved out west somewhere. Has another family now. Dax was quiet for a while, then asked if I thought the guy ever regretted leaving. Told him I didn't know, but that any man who could walk away from him missed out on knowing the best kid in the world. He didn't say anything, just kept handing me tools. But I saw him wipe his eyes when he thought I wasn't looking. Financially, things are still tight, but manageable. Working normal hours again, which my back appreciates. Set up auto payments for all the bills so nothing falls through the cracks. Dax got a weekend job at the grocery store down the street. Insists on buying his own snacks and gas now. Pride, I guess. Or maybe he's finally seeing the value of $1 after watching his mom spending catch up with her. Last week was Vanessa's birthday. Dax wanted to do something nice for her, so we picked her up and took her to dinner. Nothing fancy, just that Italian place by the highway. She showed up looking tired. The sparkly makeup and designer clothes replaced by jeans and a regular sweater. Working full-time at the mall now, trying to qualify for that apartment. Dinner was awkward at first. Lots of staring at menus and throat clearing. Then Dax started telling a story about how he face-planted in gym class. And somehow we all started laughing. For a minute, it felt normal. Not like before. Something different. Something more honest maybe. After dessert in the parking lot, Vanessa pulled me aside. Said she never thought her life would turn out like that she always assumed I'd just keep taking whatever she dished out. That she regretted everything she'd said that night after my 23-day work marathon. Everything before it, too. I didn't say much, just nodded. Too late for some things, but I appreciated hearing it. Growth, I guess. Heidi and I are official now. Facebook status changed and everything. Met her parents last weekend. Her dad's a quiet guy like me. We spent 3 hours in his garage looking at his classic car while Heidi and her mom caught up inside. Didn't need to talk much. Just handed tools back and forth. It was nice. She stays over sometimes, but never when Dax is home. Kids got enough to process without adding that to the mix. She gets it. Says we have time to figure it all out. First woman who's never rushed me or had some checklist I needed to meet. Yesterday was the big moment though, the one that knocked me sideways. Dax had a scholarship interview at the state college. Mock presentation where he had to explain a project he'd designed. He'd been working on it for weeks. Some kind of water filtration system that could be built from common materials. Pretty impressive stuff. I took the day off to drive him there, sat in the back of the room while he did his thing, watched this kid, this almost man, confidently explain complex concepts to a room full of adults. He was brilliant, poised, everything I'm not in front of crowds. Afterward, the panel asked if he had questions for them. He looked right at the head guy and said his dad always told him that the most important question in any room is what problem needs solving that nobody's talking about. His dad. Not his stepdad. Not Stanley. His dad. The drive home was quiet. Good quiet. Comfortable. We stopped for ice cream even though it was freezing outside. Some things are tradition. In the driveway before we went inside, he turned to me and asked if it was okay. That he'd called me Dad during the interview. Said he'd been wanting to for a while, but wasn't sure if I'd be cool with it. Told him it was the best thing anyone's ever called me. Ever. We're having Thanksgiving at Heidi's parents' place next week. Vanessa's coming, too. Her idea, surprisingly. Said she's working on being a better co-parent. Time will tell, but I'm cautiously optimistic. My back still hurts from those 23 days. Probably always will. But when I limp around the house now, it doesn't feel like a reminder of being used. Feels like a badge of what I'm willing to do for family. Real family. The wallet with legs finally found its spine. There were no mentions of any specific channel name in the original transcript, so no replacements were needed. This is purely the spoken narration, cleaned of any minor typos for smooth voiceover flow while keeping every word and phrasing as close as possible to the original intent.